I have a Sarah Boone update, which gives you a look into her mind and possible future planning. And after that, I have a variety of topics I would like to cover that I don't think are big enough for their own video, if you would like to stick around for that. So, Tanika's 2 cents paid for some Sarah Boone documents, and I will have her full video on that in the pinned comments if you would like to see it, because it's rather interesting. You get to see, for example, Sarah Boone calling people, and it looks like they just aren't picking up. It's really fun. But what I would like to discuss is a certain document that is titled Acknowledgement of Understanding of Responsibilities for Notification of Involvement in Crime Accounts. And it says, Section 944.512, Florida statutes prohibits all felons convicted in Florida, whether on probation, parole, or serving time in another state through the Interstate Corrections Compact, from receiving any financial benefits from literary or cinematic accounts of the crimes for which they have been convicted. I have been provided with an explanation of this statute and understand that I am required to advise the Department of Corrections if I have, or anticipate having involvement in a literary, cinematic, or other account of the crimes for which I was convicted. Sarah Boone did not sign that document. Other people did. Sarah Boone left her spots blank, and at the bottom it says, offender refuses to sign this acknowledgement. There have been a lot of claims that James Owens, his deal with Sarah might have been for a book deal, a movie, a TV series, a documentary, whatever. And the fact that Sarah is refusing to sign this raises some questions. I would say it raises quite a few questions. That is very interesting to me, that Sarah Boone is refusing to sign that she won't make money off of killing Jorge Torres, essentially. Definitely, absolutely, I feel that needs to be shared, because that could come out later. There is a world where there are lawyers that would love nothing more than to take the state to court and try to win that the inmates can make money off of it. So maybe she's looking for one of those right now. I don't know. It's a lot of conjecture. We're just going to have to see what happens in this case. Now, with that being said, if you haven't followed the Canadian Convoy stuff, I've recently covered a convoy protest movement basically as it evolved, and it fell apart before the day even arrived. But I have an update to the original Convoy fans, for the Freedom Convoy fans. Some of those fans got together, I think it was like 21 of them, and attempted to sue the Canadian Anti-Hate Network for $44 million over a conspiracy they believed in. Those fans spent over $95,000, and it ended up being thrown out of court. And the Canadian Anti-Hate Network is now owed $50,000 from those same Convoy fans. As always with the Convoy, I'm sure they'll declare it a win in some way. Maybe they'll try to raise some money. But the Convoy movements are still really funny to follow. They always are. If you've never watched any of the Convoy videos, I recommend it. You'll get a good laugh. Now, I made a previous video about a massive freeze of funds that's being attempted by the current administration, and it's freezing funds that have already been approved by Congress. And this has been delayed now until at least next Monday by a federal judge. Because you see, this is actually a move that has been done before. It's not unprecedented. It was attempted by Nixon. And it went to the Supreme Court, where he lost 9-0. Not a single judge. So, as you can imagine, when you try to go against a law, because there's a law in place preventing this, to freeze things that it's included food stamps, rental assistance, veteran suicide prevention, Medicaid, childcare, cancer research, aid to stop human trafficking, and so much more, people take notice. It is a freeze where the consequences of some of those things are immediate and irreversible if the funding dries up. If a veteran can't call that line, it doesn't undo itself immediately. That doesn't get fixed. And a lot of the ramifications would have been put off for a few months as funding that was already available was spent, and it would have just been a cascading effect. Now, the White House is already denying things like the Medicaid portal's going down, saying it has nothing to do with the freeze, but that appears to be a lie. They also claim that certain things would be unaffected, but then when a list of things affected came out, it was on it, so that was a lie. So it kind of sounds like this freeze was announced and ordered, essentially, without everyone being up to date on what it actually contains, which is not good. It's not a good way to run the government when you don't know what's being put out there. Now, some other things to cover. I mentioned previously, I haven't watched my video, a pardoned J6er was shot and killed at a traffic stop by police a couple days ago. There's another one they're bringing up that was killed. They get the date wrong. She died in October, and it's been a while, but if I remember right, she opened fire when someone came to her door, and they returned fire, and she died. And, yeah. So that's unrelated, but they're putting that out there. Just mentioning if you hear about two of them, that's the other one. Now, multiple J6ers are still held and still facing charges. Andrew Taki, he was released even though there was a notification sent to the prison to not release him because he has a pending case involving, how do I say this without getting demonetized on YouTube fully? A case involving inappropriate behavior with someone under the age of 18. He still got released, and he's, at last I saw, at large. Now, there are other ones that are being held for actions against children. And one of the Freedom Corner live streamers had a live stream. It had a woman on, and she was talking about the J6er still being held, and that woman came to bat defending them. One guy, I looked up, it said something like he had 12 charges at one point against him, and she compared what he did to watching a Disney film, which is not what he is accused of. The other one, she had a little harder time defending because the victim is listed as 7. And that one, she tried to spin a narrative that maybe he was used by the feds at J6. I don't know. Hey, listen, the live streamers from that protest came from the convoys. The convoys had their own people with similar charges that they were very defensive of. It's a pattern that seems to continue. You might be wondering, how are they coping? The corner protesters coping with the fact they no longer stand on a street corner every night, right? And get a lot of attention. One of them has just started posting on social media a lot. Another one has been posting on social media, basically begging for attention, claiming they were attacked constantly by Antifa. And they're the one that didn't even show up most of the time. Basically only showed up when there was money to be made or a big event. It's really pathetic. And then the other one, the one who had the video with the woman came on, she did another update explaining that in the past month, she only got like $265 and asked for more money. Which, I mean, yeah, after Trump won, what was the point of standing on the corner, right? There's no point. And she's got fanciful new plans with the Chinese-American group that was with the corner, and maybe she'll be involved at CPAC and whatever. So she's definitely trying to find another thing. She's been moving from the convoy. She went from the convoy, I believe, the People's Convoy. I believe she was in that. To, I know for sure she was in the 1776 convoy. Then she moved to the corner. Then she abandoned the corner for the border convoy. And then when that was a bust, she went back to the corner. So she's looking for anything, right? So that's what's going on there. To give you an idea, I know some people want updates on that, but it's not worth a whole video. I almost did a whole video going through the J6ers with those charges that I mentioned previously and about how disgusting it is that they defended them. But I think everyone expected that to happen, so I just decided against it. Channel update. I've got some stuff I'm going to be working on for my gaming channel, hopefully in February, so that might slow some things down here as long as that goes well. I've transferred everything I need that I had saved for like the Lori Daybell stuff. I made sure all that's transferred. I have my software I use for my videos, my thumbnails set up. Thank you for helping me deal with my audio issues. Same mic, same webcam, but those things, it changed with the new computer. Hopefully the audio is good. I was kind of struggling between quality and volume, if that makes sense. My microphone, if I take in too much, it gets a little echoey. To me, I'm going to be honest, the voice could be better. I think it sounds better with the volume lower, but I know a lot of people watch on phones, especially. I know I've had issues with phones being too quiet on YouTube, so making sure it's a little loud. I'd rather lose a little voice quality than not be able to hear, right? And I apologize for the videos that were more quiet. They sounded fine on my end from my computer. Obviously, I didn't watch them from mobile. As for Lori Daybell stuff and my longer videos covering her, of course, still plan to do them. But I'm gonna be honest, I'm a little burned out. I am. That's a lie. I'm more than a little burned out. I don't really take breaks, as you can probably tell by the sheer amount of videos I do covering things. So doing this video is a lot easier than like the mental preparedness I need to go through the Lori Daybell stuff, and I could power through it, and I might end up doing that. I just worry that if I do so, the quality will go down, and I don't want that. Hopefully, with the gaming channel stuff possibly picking up and me hopping back and forth, hopefully that fixes burnout. It's helped in the past a lot if I can swap back and forth. But for like the next, looking at the clock, minimum the next like week or so, I've got like nothing going on, possibly until mid-February. So with the gaming front, so it depends on where I'm willing to spend my money and whatever. So we'll see. That's all up in the air, but definitely going to keep doing videos, following stuff, as you know. I know a lot of people don't like the political content, but I mean, I'm going to be honest. It's true crime, whether you like it or not, for quite a bit of it. We're talking court cases, court battles, a lot of that stuff. I'm going to be following that stuff in my personal time. So if you're like that court battle for the freeze, hey, I'm going to be checking that out, probably give you updates on that. So that type of stuff will be going on. So hey, if you don't root for the side I'm on, maybe you can see how the other side would cover it for whatever issue, right? Trying to think of what else. I think that about sums it up. I'm really glad that I spent, how do I want to put this? I'm really glad I bought the computer because I was worried about tariffs, right? I was worried about that, price increases, and I got it. My old computer, I've done some testing with some videos to see how they render. It is fabulous. It is fabulous. I'm talking like videos that would take me 4 or 5 hours to render on my old computer. I've had videos of that quality, just testing, render through, save, look better in 20 minutes. So that makes things a lot quicker. If I'm doing longer content, I think that's fantastic. Hopefully that ends up being a better video for you as well. In my old video, old computer, I was having issues rendering. Sometimes it would crash or whatever. At the very end, I was having those issues. So that's not a problem anymore. Hopefully that quality shows on this channel as well. Because the computer is better, that also means there are some upgrades I can still do. For example, I could get a better webcam. I could get a better mic. My computer could actually maybe process that now. You know what I mean? And I do still have some things I need to work on also when it comes to like the Lori Daybell videos. I'm working off of just the internal space in this current computer, which is rather small. So I need to buy some externals, which I need to do anyway, and they'll help me keep things organized and keep things saved in case something happens to the computer. Have a second copy, but I have a copy there. But also, it will allow me to do longer videos and not have to worry about the space being taken up on the computer itself and possibly running out of space, because then I have to also have the space to render the video and save the final combined copy. And at the moment, it's not a big worry. There's still space, but as anyone who's had a desktop computer knows, you add things to it, it takes up more room. Especially if I'm doing gaming content, it can very quickly fill up space. So I still have some spending to do there, trying to find a good deal. And hopefully that will improve that type of quality. But I am, as I said, a little burned out. I was sick for a while and powering through it, and I feel like I'm not sick anymore. My back doesn't hurt where I fell, but because I powered through it, even then, it just feels like the burnout's hitting me a little harder. So we'll go from there. We'll see where it goes. Thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate it. You can like, comment, subscribe. I probably won't have a link to my Buy Me a Coffee and stuff in this video because I'm going to have Tanika's 2 cents link in the pinned comments. But if you're interested in that, it's in previous videos if you want to do that. While the price of coffee in America might go up, mine I don't plan to raise on Buy Me a Coffee for the minimum. Trying to think if there's any other news story I plan to cover. There's some nonsense where like petition to try to like separate California from the US, which I think is nonsense. Probably not going to cover that. That type of stuff I don't really cover. Massive lawsuits against the federal government trying to like stop freezes that will affect all of US society. I think that's big enough to at least talk about in some capacity. So, but we'll see. I've already got Sarah Boone's at another tab on my computer where I have the search where I check her files. I got that up and running. Forgot about that actually till today. And I was like, oh man, have I missed any Sarah Boone news? And it just happened to coincide with Tanika 2 Cents' video, which was perfect timing. And I thought that was important to cover. Yeah, I don't know. I have to imagine James Owens had some sort of benefit coming out of this, and it's probably going to come out at some point. Either he's going to try something or Sarah's going to make a statement that's going to get released. We'll have to see. But thank you all. I appreciate you. I've ranted too long, and I'll see you in the next video.